So today I wanted to share Miss Saskia's story and my story, our story. Miss Saskia is my thoroughbred. She's a very special being to me. Here we go. So before I begin to share this story, I want to tell you it's a story of love. And I want to acknowledge how random meetings between souls brought this union and sharing together, this time that we're spending together. A random meeting a few weeks ago with a stranger became a deep exchange about animals and my Saskia story. And it was during this meeting that I was called to share my Saskia, her story, and our story. Why don't you do a video blog, someone said. And so here we are. And it will be an exchange that will be etched for me because the story of Saskia, our story, was recognized. So thank you for this meeting that prompted this video. And so here I am, I'm urged to share a story about love. A story of love that animals inspire in humans, because that's what they do. Their purpose and existence is an awakening of the parts of us that have lain dormant. This is our story. It happened to be in March 2015, when a good friend of mine asked me to come to the ranch where she boarded her 6 horses. She asked me to connect with them and share their lives and their voices. And so off I went, excited to see her and to speak to everyone. When I arrived, the ranch was a small one, a private one. The corrals were laid out in an L shape, and there were about 15 horses. I went past each and every one of them, and as is customary now that I realized, they all come out to greet. Animals know who you are, and their reaction to you will tell you all you need to know. When I saw my friend, we went around to all her horses. We connected. And then she said to me, "There's another horse. She's a rescue. I want you to come and talk to her. She needs help." And so we went to this corral, and there she was. A thoroughbred, a bay, a beautiful bay, a true bay, gorgeous girl. Her name was Katsatka. And as I began to connect with her, she was so closed, so anxious. And yet there was this curiosity underneath all of that. Like, who was this human? Who is she? She came to the front of her corral to sniff me, and I let her. She was friendly, but there was a distrust beneath all of that, a distrust of humans in general. And there was a lot of grief. She started to show me her fear and pain and what her life had been like. There was a lot of uncertainty. She was raced, she was beaten, she was shoved, she was pushed, she was moved, she was sold, and she had a fall. And that's when the brick wall came down and she stood there looking at me, connected, just looking. My heart was bleeding for her as much as hers was. The tears flowed. They flowed. And my friend's tears flowed. She told me she was rescued from a feedlot. She had been bought by a kill buyer and was in a feedlot waiting for the slaughter truck to arrive. And she had been pregnant. There was the fall. She'd been match raced in Mexico, but no longer being useful. As is usual in the racing world, they sent her to slaughter, or they repurposed. This is the fate of so many racehorses the world over. I had so much sadness in my heart and body. It was explosive and implosive all at the same time. It was a difficult, contradictory set of emotions to hold. And the feeling of losing her foal, I had felt that it was asphyxiated in the womb and it died, and she gave birth to a stillborn, and that's what happened. The foal was removed from her, but she lost her mind. They had to lay it next to her for her to grieve. And that's when I saw, and why I saw, the brick wall. She didn't want to talk about it. It was too much for her to bear, to allow for it to be fully seen. After the connection session, I went to her and spent time with her. We took a selfie. So let me share with you the first selfie that Saskia and I took. And there it is. That was Saskia in 2015, our first selfie. She likes selfies. And what you can see in her eye, it's distorted. That's the eye of trauma. And I felt this connection with her like I've never felt before. I've never experienced that in my heart and body. She did rings around me when I was in the corral with her, sniffing me from head to toe. Little did I know that what she was smelling me from head to toe was because I was her human. She chose me. She did tell me that afterwards. But in that moment, it was a moment of bliss and awe, just being present. Some of the colors she shared with me were blue and purple. Purple is our color. I left that day with a feeling that there was a tether between our hearts that could not be broken. But this was new to me. This intensity was new to me. I had this pull to visit every afternoon. I couldn't fight it, and nor did I want to. We spent time together just being without doing anything. It was magical. I felt like I was falling in love with her, and I was. Something I'd never had before with a horse. It was new to me. It was out of this world. I cannot express the feeling with words because it's so rich, and the tapestry of feeling cannot be reduced to words alone. Every day for that week, I struggled. I wanted to adopt her, but I was concerned about the means to do so. I would receive messages from her like psychic balls. This feeling in the color that hit my heart, the feeling that we were meant to be together, filled my heart. It filled my heart. Every day I went to see her, this being of light. I struggled with the feelings of wanting to be her human, her person in this world. I struggled with all the human feelings of horse ownership. I reached out to a dear friend of mine who's been by my side for so many years, and without whom I would not be speaking about this with you today. She knows who she is. I had support, and with the help of my friend who owned the 6 horses at the ranch too, Cat Saskia was adopted. I adopted her on April 1st, 2015, that moment. It was magical. She changed. She knew. She knew I heeded her call, the call of her heart to mine. We were together. I was scared, and yet I was exhilarated all at once, feelings that when you embark on something new that's unknown, but we were supported. Our connection was so strong, unbreakable, you couldn't touch it. I asked her if she liked her name, and she said to me, "No, my name is Miss Saskia." I looked at her and said, "Okay, from this moment, your name is Miss Saskia." I came to find out Miss Saskia means Valley of Light. She is my Valley of Light. My dear Saskia, who's helped me to grow, who's helped me to see and shape who I am today, along with many other animals and humans. My Saskia, it's been 8 years. We traveled so many paths together. You taught me about trauma in animals and that PTSD does exist in animals and horses. We went through the tribulations together in the horse world. That meant I was gaslighted to protect you. You were gaslighted and I stood up for you. I was gaslighted for my ideas and for who I was and who I am. But I stood You stood. We stood together. I stood near you and you stood for yourself, for us. Eventually, people saw. They saw you and they saw me. They saw us. It could not be denied that over the 8 years we've been together, you were slowly set free. At least that's my hope. To be a horse without force, without human expectations, other than being yourself. And I promised you I would give you the freedom you deserve after all that was sucked out of you by humans for profit. I promised you. It broke my heart each day I could not give that to you, though. But finally it arrived by the grace of dear friends that I will forever be grateful to for so many reasons. They know who they are. Finally that day arrived. You are now an equine paradise on earth. You are a horse with freedom to roam without the burden of carrying humans on your back, without the burden of not being seen. And our connection is and always will be strong, tethered, unbreakable, certain. It warms my heart when I call you in the field and you come trotting to my side and ask for butt scratches. That's her favorite. It warms my heart that you choose me because, after all, who am I? A human, but you choose me. You prompted me to share your message to help other racehorses, so that their plight can be exposed. You prompted me to write a case study and present it at conferences about PTSD in animals. You're my valley of light. You are a part of me. You're a part of me that I cannot be without. Saskia, my beautiful girl, the gratitude for what you have taught me and how you have shaped my growth is unfathomable. You're a part of me and I'm a part of you. And as you can see, this turned out to be a story of Saskia and me, but really a letter to her. And that's what I love about sharing messages. When they come from the heart, they're real. And they evolve and unfold on their own. So I hope you resonated with her story. Before you go to the races, remember the horses are not being horses. And they're very young. To have anyone on their backs, horses' bones meld or fuse at 6 years old. Many of those racehorses being raced are only years old, like a yearling, 2 years old. So while you're sipping champagne in the tent, the horses are in small stalls with injuries masked with medication and other things being forced to run in pain or masked pain. They're forced into areas of heightened noise that is way too much for their minds. Animals hear differently to us. They see differently to us. They feel differently to us. But as humans, we don't understand. Thoroughbreds are always termed as hot. They're hot bred, but they're not hot. They're sensitive. They're smart. And they're not in environments that are suited for their minds and bodies. Yes, perhaps they've been bred to run, but not to breaking point. And they're forced to for profit. So next time you place your bet, I hope that her story will help you to understand not just her and our story, but the story of the thoroughbreds. And I'm here to tell you what I'm here to do is only share with you what I feel. And what I currently know, I am only sharing with you what I experienced with my Saskia and witnessing her journey, her story. That became our story. I'll leave you with that. And if you want to connect with me, you can at chiaramarapoti.com or wildvoicestalk.com. See you soon.
Saskia, come on. Come here, girlie. Easy. Easy, girl. You're okay. You're easy, girl. Easy. Saskia, Saskia now. I'm gonna talk to you now, Saskia, okay? You ready? Are you ready? Good girl. You got it. Good girl.